Hey everybody, this is Josh. First of all, thanks so much for listening. If you're familiar with the first few episodes of this podcast, this message will be familiar to you. And that is that Jack and I, before we started releasing them, recorded a bunch of episodes to have a bank of them for when we started putting them out into the world. We have since decided to change the name of the podcast. Now, I can't go through the entire episode and edit out the different references to the previous names, and there will probably be some timely references at the time of recording, but this was recording at an earlier date, so you'll both get a insight to what we were thinking at the time, and also I wanted to retroactively go back and re-record the openings to these episodes to reflect the new name. So, without further delay, welcome to The Long List, a podcast where we celebrate movies and pop culture through the storied art of rankings. There are no wrong answers, no bad opinions, and hot takes are always encouraged. I'm Josh Muller. Jack's out of town this week, so I'm joined by my beautiful, powerful, wonderful, intelligent wife, Rebecca. And this episode is all about food in movies. Rebecca, how are we doing today?
Doing great. Happy to be on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for filling in.
Yeah.
I think at some point, Jack and I have acknowledged that we want to get a third person at fairly regularly, whether that's a rotating person or, a regular third chair or however you want to call it. And then obviously he and I are going to not be able to be available every single weekend like this weekend. So thanks for filling in.
Yeah.
So food and movies. Let's talk about, I guess, first, what's your relationship to food, to dining, and why do food movies, so why do you gravitate towards them, I guess? So take it however you want.
Okay. Well, to start, I mean, I am obsessed with food. And maybe it is food movies. If food movies are a genre, I think that's my favorite genre.
Is that
movie.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if I necessarily loved food per se growing up. I wasn't like a picky eater as a kid. Most of the time, my mom will tell you her split pea soup. I wouldn't eat that, but
we all have our blind spots.
Yeah. But coming into my young adulthood, I definitely found an appreciation for food and ended up working in restaurants for probably about a decade of my life and was around a lot of food. I went to culinary school for a little bit of time. I just really wanted to get into it. I feel really passionate about food. I love cooking food at home.
And thank you.
And I love going out to eat really good food. And so seeing people make food, enjoy food on film is just so pleasurable for me.
Yeah. Like you said, we've both been in restaurants throughout our careers. I don't know, probably like a combined 20 to 25 years. Mm-hmm. Big part of our life. And when you work in restaurants a lot, eventually you got to go out to restaurants and dine yourself because you're on the grind and you're like, I want to switch this around a little bit. So we have a lot of definite dining experience, I guess you should say, and both lowbrow and highbrow, and it's a lot of fun. So I have that coming up later, but I first wanted to jump into our first top five. This is how Jack and I do it. We start out of the gate with the top five category. And this category, before we get into the meat and vegetables, I guess I should say, of the food episode, I really wanted to do a top five food sequences or scenes or moments or plot points that are not what you would not what you would consider food-centric movies.
Right.
So
just
this
like a little moment
across all cinema
in any movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have a bunch. I have a top five and then I have a bunch of stragglers. So why don't you go first and then I'll fill in the blanks.
Okay. And I'm going to give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's how I would prefer it. Yes.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Starting off at number 5 from the wonderful movie Elf, Christmas classic, is the breakfast spaghetti.
Yeah. Good one.
Yes.
Kind of gross.
gross and also so good. Yeah, Buddy the Elf has just moved in with his father and
Servant, or I guess,
stepmother.
yeah.
Yes, and he has made them spaghetti for breakfast, but when they leave for the day for work, he sits down and makes himself spaghetti, and he just like tops it with, I mean, what, syrup, Pop Tarts, other candies that he just like crumbles over the whole thing, and then he just takes a forkful and shovels
Well, he's really going for it.
like huge amounts into his mouth.
You wonder how many takes they had to do.
Oh my God. And the thing that I love the most about it is he does like this little happy bounce.
Yeah.
And this like big sigh of just like, oh yeah, this is it. This is like, oh, the best. And just his pure enjoyment that you can just see physically in that scene makes it my number 5.
I love it. Good one. Classic.
Yes.
What's number 4?
Okay, number 4. Number 4 comes from Steven Spielberg's 1993 classic, Jurassic Park.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It is the scene where Tim and Lex have like just experienced dinosaurs in really, really scary ways, and they are finally back at the visitor center.
Homie's got like electric hair.
Oh my God, they're covered in like mud.
Yeah.
Yes, they're like, they've been through the ringer. And there's this just like buffet of food before them. And so they start piling on the food and they're sitting down. And that one shot of Lex holding the spoon with the Jell-O.
And the Jell-O shakes.
And the Jell-O is shaking.
Yeah,
And it's
good
just pure
stuff.
terror. And the Jell-O is just like doing what Jell-O does best. And
Jiggle, jiggle.
it really just sets the next sequence.
I did not have that one.
Wow.
Yeah. I forgot
Interesting.
about that one. Good work.
Yes.
All right, number 3.
Okay, number 3 is the steakhouse scene in Wong Kar-wai's In the Mood for Love.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. It's a fabulous scene where the man and the woman are sitting down and eating dinner and trying to, I think at this point they've maybe started to figure out that their spouses are cheating on them with each other.
Right. And aren't they trying to kind of be their spouse in a way, like play acting?
They're trying to play act like how maybe their spouse's relationship maybe started, or
Oh, that's right.
something like
There's
that.
a lot of sexual tension going on.
Yes.
And a lot of silence. It looks beautiful.
Yes.
The whole movie looks beautiful. Yeah, good one.
So there's in the one particular part where he reaches and puts hot mustard on her plate.
Oh, that's right.
And she takes
Because
her steak.
his wife would like it hot.
Because his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she takes her steak and
His
she
wife
dips
likes it
in
hot.
and she says, "Your wife likes it spicy." And it's just, yeah, it's like, woo, what am I watching? Okay. Okay. My number 2 is Bruce Bogtrotter and the massive chocolate cake from Matilda.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I do not. I haven't seen that movie in 35 years, and you threw me off with Bruce
Bogtrotter. Yeah.
I didn't have that one in the memory bank.
Yes.
I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
though.
Trunchbull pulls Bruce Bogtrotter up. She accuses him of stealing her personal cake stash and makes him eat a giant piece of chocolate cake, which just is like, the scene is so grotesque and also just like so captivating at the same time. The cake is like, looks ridiculous in like a disgusting and also, oh my God, I want to try that cake.
Yeah.
And the cook comes out and she's all like nasty looking, and Trunchbull's like, she put her blood, sweat, and tears into this. And as a kid, you're watching it like, oh my God, there's blood and sweat and tears in this cake. Like, gross.
Already gross enough.
Yeah. And she makes him eat the whole cake. And it's just a powerful scene. And I love it so much.
Good one.
And my number 1 is the imaginary feast scene from Hook.
Oh wow! I love Hook.
Yes.
And I forgot all about that scene.
Yes.
I'm a little embarrassed.
Oh my God. They're just like, there's nothing in the bowls. And Robin Williams as Peter is just like, what is going on?
Man,
you're eating something and I'm so hungry and I don't understand. And it takes him and Rufio getting into this like name calling back and forth.
You lewd, crude bag of pre-chewed food, dude.
Yes,
if I
exactly.
remember correctly.
That is exactly
burned
it.
in my brain.
And finally, like giving into the like playfulness of that back and forth with Rufio allows his brain to imagine.
You're doing it, Peter.
You're doing it.
Nice.
And just like the steaming turkey legs and then the pies that are just like neon. They're just like crazy colored frosting or whipped cream or like it's just such a memorable scene.
That's a good one. That made Hook made Jack's top 5 of 1991.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Yeah, good movie.
All right, how about you?
All right, I got a bunch.
Okay.
So I'm going to blow right through these.
Okay.
So I wanted to choose something from eggs because, a lot of egg choices. So we have Rocky drinking raw eggs, Cool Hand Luke eating 50 hard-boiled eggs.
Yes.
The Verdict, I don't know if you've seen that one. It's a good one, but he puts a raw egg in his beer as like a hangover cure. Disgusting. In the bar, mind you. Like the raw eggs are in the bar. Gross. I almost went with chorizo and eggs from Midnight Run and just had to be me, but they don't actually eat the chorizo and eggs. I don't even remember if you actually see it. It's just like a talking point at the diner, which is a great scene. I love that scene, but I can't in good faith put that one. So I went with the scrambled egg scene, candlelight scrambled eggs from Something's Gotta Give in the kitchen when they're both in their robes.
Yes.
Love that scene. Really good. And they're talking about, she's talking about romance in Paris and all that stuff. And he's like, what's more romantic than this? We're sitting in
scrambled
our
eggs in our PJs.
The power's out. Scrambled. It's just great. Great scene. Number 4, I went with Aunt Meg's in Twister when they take a break and they all go eat steak and mashed
potatoes and gravy.
Food, sustenance, and the gravy. It looks really good, and collective cholesterol is probably getting really high there, but it's a good scene. Number 3, I went with the food prep scene, both in Godfather and Goodfellas. I couldn't pick one. I'm cheating a little bit, and I went with both.
All right.
So
fair.
Clemenza's making sauce.
Yes.
First you fry your sausage, then you fry your meatballs, then you put in a little bit of wine, and then your tomatoes. And he says it like that, tomatoes. Then you add a little sugar. That's his secret, Rebecca. Don't know if you remember that. And then in Goodfellas, he's shaving the garlic with the
razor blade.
With the razor blade, yeah. And he's yelling at people for using too many onions in the sauce.
Onions. Yeah.
Good stuff. So I went with both of those. Number 2, I got burgers and or Jackrabbit Slims with a $5 shake and Pulp Fiction.
Of course.
They're both great.
Yes.
This is a tasty burger. And then Jackrabbit Slims itself, the restaurant is just sick. And I want to go there. Kind of. And then, so Steve Buscemi's the waiter and he asks, when they order a steak or a burger, would you like it burnt to crisp or bloody as hell? So that's the 2 cook temperatures he offers. So I like that. And number 1... gotta go with Mendel's from Grand Budapest Hotel because that's actually like a significant plot point in the prison escape.
Yes.
And they bring it up like 19 times.
Yeah, they're like hiding.
And Agatha works there.
Escape tools in the pastries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're shaped like tools, but it's Mendel's, so they don't cut it up and they don't investigate.
And like a stack of the boxes is like, isn't there like a gun inside or something? Am I making that up?
Maybe. You might be making that up, but they do... Well, I don't know. Guess we'll have to rewatch tonight. Yeah. All right, honorable mentions. I'm just going to list them off. The strudel in Inglourious Bastards, riveting scene. Cooking lobsters in Annie Hall. That's a really funny scene. I can't believe the dumpling off didn't make my list in Kung Fu Panda.
Oh, Kung Fu Panda.
Great stuff. Groundhog Day, where he's eating everything in the diner and he stuffs the cake in his mouth. I got the steak in There Will Be Blood at the end where he's talking about milkshakes and killing people. Yikes. Be Our Guest, Rebecca.
Well, I was going to say steaks. What about what's-his-face eating the steak in The Matrix?
I thought about that too, but I didn't want to put 2 steaks in. That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's also like a really good poignant scene where he's like, this steak isn't real, but I don't care.
Yeah.
Joey Pants.
Yeah, Joey Pants.
A side order of wheat toast and 5 EV pieces. That's a good one. And I'll have what she's having in When Harry Met Sally, which is at least one of my favorites. One of our collective favorites, probably. So there you go. A bunch of food scenes. It's a rich text with food scenes, not in food movies.
Yes.
So that was fun. Rebecca,
Yeah.
did you watch anything interesting this week?
Yeah. Well,
I always ask Jack that.
yeah.
He's usually talking about Severance.
We haven't seen that. It's on the watch list. We just watched the Oscars.
Yeah.
We watched the Oscars.
So I don't know when this is going out. We're recording this the Sunday after the Oscars.
Yes.
So it's not super top of mind. And by the time this episode comes out, probably even less so. But still, we haven't talked about it yet on the podcast post-Oscars. So this will probably be our last Oscar talk, I don't know, for a while.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What'd you think?
It was okay. I thought it was a little boring this year.
I did too.
Well,
let me follow that up with what'd you think about Conan specifically?
I love Conan. I felt like he was out of his element.
Yeah, maybe.
I felt like he was trying to do stand-up.
Yeah.
Like, there were a couple of points where he even was like, okay, so, like, he's, like, setting up, like, a stand-up joke or something.
Yeah.
And instead of leaning into being a host and being just kind of, like, naturally comedic, he came across to me as feeling really nervous or just a little out of his element, which kind of threw me a bit.
Interesting. I loved it with Conan, but I love pretty much anything that Conan does. So I get it. And I also, like, the thing that makes Conan so great is that he's really willing to go there, which he probably won't do on a national Oscars broadcast.
Well, he did a couple times.
Yeah,
he
but
tried to make a...
Wait, what do you mean?
Make a strong joke.
Oh, well, you're talking about the Carlos Sofia Gascon joke?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad he went there.
Yeah.
I'm saying just like when, I'm not glad. I don't necessarily have a dog in that fight, but, it kind of was the elephant in the room. And I'm glad he went there and made a joke about it.
Yeah.
So, with her in the room, by the way, I had heard that she wasn't going to show, which probably wouldn't have been a good call, but, she was there. He didn't let it slide.
Yep.
Hey, you make your bed, you got to lie in it.
That's right. I think one thing I really didn't like was his little musical number about wasting your time.
Yeah.
That was just so dumb.
That was probably stupid.
I was like, what? Like, really? What is this?
I didn't think it was as offensive as the other musical numbers throughout the show, which also wasted my time.
Okay, I'm just going to jump back on that, and that I thought the opening with Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, I thought was fantastic.
I did like that.
But like the James Bond tribute,
I don't know.
That was bizarre.
I guess they were trying to honor. So Amazon just recently purchased the right to make Bond movies and be the overseer from I'm going to get this wrong, but there's a family that's been, making all the Bond business decisions for a while, or what content can be made and so on and so forth. And I'm not a scholar on that, so I don't know if I'm getting that exactly right, but they recently just sold it to Amazon. And so they were kind of giving them an emeritus reward or award, I guess. Fine, whatever, I guess. But Bond isn't even like it. We don't even have a new Bond movie coming out or a new Bond chosen, to my knowledge.
Right.
So it just felt very out of touch to do what it was like 15 minutes of different Bond songs.
And it like they didn't talk about why they were doing it.
Right.
It just like started up and then it finished and then it was never acknowledged. They never talked about like, thanks to Ian Fleming or whoever created James Bond for giving us amazing decades of cinema history. Like nothing.
Why
it
not
was just
do like a supercut of James Bond clips?
Right.
Why do we need a dance number and then 3 separate songs? I mean, from artists. To be fair, we're pushing 40. I've never heard of those artists.
Well, we knew Doja Cat, but
okay, I've heard of Doja Cat. She was also not exactly on key.
Yikes.
So, I mean, I don't know who was asking for it. And like,
Right.
we're all complaining that the Oscars are too long. Maybe I understand the thought process of wanting to break it up from just awards, but also that's why we're watching.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that you're going to get a younger audience with that performance necessarily. And if you're not going to do that, let's not turn off the audience that actually tuned in to watch the award show.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe I sound like a get off my lawn guy.
Well, and here's what I'll say that I kind of noticed was happening through the entire show was these things were happening, but nothing was really announced. Even some of the presenters that were giving awards weren't saying, and the nominees for ABC are
Right.
They just
read it.
They just
did a quick bit and then here are the nominees.
Right. And it relied on you as the viewer to be looking on screen to see what the category was somewhere on the screen.
Right.
I felt like a lot of the information was given without like telling you what or why. I don't know. For some reason that didn't work for me.
Felt
Sitting
disjointed.
at home, it felt very disjointed. And you know, I watch the Oscars every year, but like I still want you to explain to me what's happening.
Right.
So I loved, again, Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo at the beginning.
Yeah, that
I
was
understood why they started the show that way. It was
Yeah.
a tribute to Los Angeles.
Right.
It was like so powerful.
Yeah.
And then they talked about LA just like a very little bit. And I was just kind of like maybe wanting a little bit more. I don't know.
Well, I wonder, it's kind of like a tough line to toe because now the Oscars, as I understand it, are a much more international voting body. And so if you really hammer home the LA stuff, maybe you feel like you're alienating a lot of the other
Yeah.
people. But I mean, you know,
But
they
like-
had their tribute. The tribute was really nice. I did like that.
Yeah, I did too. And you
Actually
could
got a little
see like,
emotional.
oh yeah, of course. And you know, all the actors in the audience, or actors and producers and, you know, people in film were like, you could see they were all crying too. It was powerful and it was beautiful.
Give your grade of the program as a whole.
As a whole. Ooh. C+.
Yeah, I was going to say B-. That's right there.
Yeah. It like started off on a high and then to me it just went meow downhill real fast.
Yeah, when they said they weren't going to be doing the original songs, I was kind of excited. I usually don't need songs to break it up. I get why they do it. They want to break up the monotony. I'm here for the monotony. I want to see the awards. I like hearing people make jokes, but the Bond thing really turned me off because it was like 20 minutes. It's like 15 or 20 minutes. Maybe I'm just remembering it that long.
I would
but
have rather have heard the songs from the movies that were nominated. Or there weren't even songs nominated, right?
No, there were.
They just
El Mal
didn't show
won.
them?
No, they didn't show
Oh,
them.
they did.
didn't-
Oh, right.
They didn't perform them.
Mm.
I think part of the reason is because of the backlash from
Amelia
Perez.
Ooh.
Which again,
didn't think about
when I
that.
heard that, I was like, "Oh, great! We don't have to sit through a bunch of songs I don't care about."
Yeah.
But then that is better than seeing a 20-minute song I don't care about.
Right. Right.
I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Honora was the big winner.
Yeah.
More importantly, Sean Baker was the big. Not more importantly, but Sean Baker was the big winner.
Big
so
winner.
he won for director.
Mm-hmm.
He also was the producer, so he won for picture. He was one of the producers. He wrote Honora, and he edited Honora, and he became the first person to win 4 Academy Awards for a single movie in one night.
Yeah.
Pretty big
Big
achievement.
time. Big time.
Good stuff. How'd you like Honora?
I really liked it. I have been doing like some learning about Honora, about the sex worker industry, and just hearing about how maybe while that movie was shining a light on this industry that is often looked down upon, it maybe wasn't the best representation of the sex worker industry and wasn't really truly like maybe not an accurate portrayal of what it means to be a sex worker. So I liked it in the beginning when I first watched it, and over time I think I've just been thinking more about it and really questioning more things about it.
Yeah.
I thought Mikey Madison was great. I thought she gave a powerful performance. The actor who was nominated for Best Supporting Actor, I don't remember his name, but
Neither do I.
I thought he was good. I don't know if he was supporting actor nomination worthy. I don't
Yeah,
know.
a lot of people have been saying how great he was. I mean, he was fine. I didn't think he was bad. I didn't think anyone else other than Mikey Madison really stood out. It was a good cast as a whole, but yeah, that's just me.
Yeah.
What'd you think about Mikey Madison winning over to me?
Well, I mean, I have to admit, I did not watch The Substance.
Yeah.
Body horror is not my jam.
Not as much my jam either.
I'd rather watch a food movie. So I can't really say.
Yeah.
I mean, Demi had a run during the award season.
Yeah.
So I think she definitely got her stars. Yeah, I just don't know.
Yeah.
Until I see that movie.
Yeah, I guess so. You want to touch on Best Actor, or should we move on?
I mean, Adrian Brody won for The Brutalist.
Gave a long speech
Gave
that
a
he kept
5-minute and 40-second long
that
speech.
he kept assuring was going to be a short speech.
And was something about him rubs me the wrong way. I think he asked for extra time and then didn't really say anything.
Yeah.
With this almost 6 minutes that he was on the stage.
Yeah. In general, with the whole extra time on the surface, like if you're going to say something profound and good, I'm okay with it, especially because we can cut the James Bond montage. Like, I don't know why we have to make every speech 45 seconds when we have a big piece of thing that nobody's asking for in the middle of the show. But he just kind of seems a little full of himself, I guess. I don't know I don't want to be too harsh because I don't know the guy.
Right.
But
that's how he comes across.
He does come across that way.
Yeah.
He's very serious, and he thinks all his words are very serious.
Right.
And the message he's trying to get across, I think, is a good message, but it just...
Even in the act of walking up on stage and taking his gum and tossing it.
Oh, yeah.
It was just kind of
gross.
Oh. Yeah. Like, you're an actor, man. Keep the gum in your mouth and just tuck it somewhere.
Or like, here's my award coming up. Maybe I should take the gum out of my mouth now.
Right.
Gross.
Yeah.
All right, moving on from the Oscars. We could talk about it all day, but we have stuff to talk about here. I did want to hit one more thing before food episodes, and that is because I just saw it this week, like 2 days ago. Have you heard of a movie called The Electric State?
The only thing that I know about The Electric State is it's a new movie coming out with Chris Pratt and Millie Bobby Brown.
That's correct. And that means you knew two more things than I knew about it before I read this thing about it this week.
Okay.
I had never heard of it, which is kind of crazy. It's directed by the Russo brothers, who did all the, Thanos Avengers movies and have ridiculous budgets, and they make billions of dollars at the box office. Well, this movie is getting panned. It debuted with a 10% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's right.
Wait, it came out already?
I don't know, but
okay.
the reviews are starting to come. Again, I had never heard of it until this week, which is another thing that the next part I'm going to tell you. Can you guess the budget for this film?
Oh, God, I don't even know.
By comparison, Honora had $6 million budget.
Well, Honora was an independent film.
Okay.
And was small
and it
budget.
won the Oscars. 1,000 Oscars.
Right.
Just throw out a number.
Oh, my God.
$320 million.
I was going to say $100 million.
No, $320 million was the budget for this film. That is, so my question to you, Rebecca, is...
my jaw is...
What are we doing? What are we doing? Why are movies that... Jack and I have talked about this a little bit on the podcast, and others have waxed poetic on this, and so we're not the first to say this, but why are we making $320 million pieces of crap? And to be fair, I have not seen the movie. To be fair.
Yeah.
When you can make... What is that? 30 Honoras?
Yeah.
That's not even close. That you can make 60 Honoras for that money.
Right. I'm gonna... I don't remember who said it. Someone won an award. I don't know if it was the Golden Globes. I don't know if it was the Oscars.
I think I know what you're talking about, but keep going. I want to let you speak first.
And he said something along the lines of, like, we have these like $200 million movies, but like, why don't we make these smaller budget films and make more movies and let more people have a voice and let more people make art? Not everything needs to be these like major blockbusters because they don't always work.
Yeah.
And then all this money gets spent for what?
For what? It was the guy who
They're not going to make their money back.
for screenplay at the Oscars a couple years ago for American Fiction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but that's who said it. It was
Yes.
and I think I brought that up in another podcast, but I'm not sure. It was a really nice speech. He said it really coherently. And yeah, it's like, why can't we invest in...
Cord Jefferson.
There you go. In a bunch of movies for $10 to $20 million and make a bunch of them. And some of those won't hit, but some of them will hit. And you'll probably get the same investment back for making $320 million piece of crap that no one's going to go see. And it's just well, that's the other thing is now it's a tax write-off if they lose it. So now they can count it against their taxes. It's just, you know,
gross.
Anyway,
It's gross.
just wanted to bring that up. Okay, now we're going to bring it back to food. I don't want to get depressed about the state of the movie industry. All right, what are your favorite dining experiences? You can go broad, you can go specific.
This
is not ranked. We're just an open discussion.
We're just talking. I feel like I have like just like a million favorite dining experiences. A really memorable one was right after we got married. We went to Chez Panisse. We went to the downstairs.
Is that when that was?
Yeah, it was like two months after we got married.
Oh.
3 months after we got married.
I figured that was for like an anniversary or a birthday or something. I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, it was the year we got married. We went to Chez Panisse. We went to the downstairs, which is like the fancy.
The prefix menu.
Yeah. We went. It was going to be like a really big deal dinner for us.
And we were so excited about the menu. We looked at it all week.
Yeah. And we got there and they were like, oh, by the way, it's the first day of Dungeness crab season. We're adjusting the menu. And I mean, you and I love Dungeness crab.
Yeah,
and
they actually said it the other way around. And I got really pissed for 2.5 seconds.
Oh.
Because I was like, change the menu. How could you? And they're like, it's Dungeness crab season. Like, okay, never mind. Bring it on.
Yes.
And it was so good.
I mean, yeah, it was fantastic. There was like a salad. It was like a simple salad that was just, it had like a creamy dressing and it had like batarga and it was phenomenal. It was such a lovely meal. So like, yeah, high end for sure.
Yeah.
Something like that is really memorable for me. But I also, thinking about just like food experiences that have really been special for me are sitting along the beach in Maui with your family at sunset.
Oh,
and eating poke.
Yeah.
Drinking rum and pog.
Yeah.
And sharing a communal fresh poke and just like enjoying the sunset is just like amazing. And then also I think what I'm looking for in a good dining experience is and what I'm aiming for usually is people coming together and really having a good time and having food be what's bringing everybody together, but not necessarily the main event. I think just getting all of our friends or family together. We hosted our first Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that was a good
this year, and I mean, pat on my back, the turkey turned out so freaking good.
Was really good. It was really good.
So amazing when, you put work and effort into a meal, but I love cooking for my friends and family. The act of doing that is just, it brings me such joy. And then seeing your faces light up or just knowing that you're enjoying something that I've prepared brings me endless joy.
And I am a good cook. I'm not as good of a cook as you are, but I almost sometimes think yeah, we want the food to be good, but when we're all sitting down, getting together, having a good time over a prepared meal,
yeah,
it almost doesn't have to be that good. It's just we're just having a meal, sharing an experience together.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of had that coming up later, but that kind of ties into what I want to talk about with Sean Baker's acceptance speech. So we'll kind of go this in reverse order. Sean Baker, in one of his 15,000 acceptance speeches that he gave that night because he won 100 awards, talked about the importance of seeing movies in the theater in a communal experience. Jack and I have touched on this a little bit in past podcasts, but now that movies become available so quickly after their theatrical release, and the fact that we now have, not just us, but like as a collective, have access to really good TVs, really good sound systems. Now you can really blow it out and get like the absolute best and get surround sound, Dolby Digital, whatever. But you can also just get a pretty good TV for a few $100s and a pretty good sound bar for like $150. And, you know, it's not exactly like a movie theater, but it's certainly a lot closer than we grew up when we were on VHS with square box TVs with no sound.
Yeah.
So I get it, but also experiencing a movie in the theater. I know you feel the same way. When you really get that magical experience, there's not really anything like it. And I appreciated Sean Baker saying that. I hope we can figure out a way to get people back in the theaters. I don't know whether we have to lower prices or mandate how long movies will stay in theaters.
Yeah, they're in and out these days.
There's got to be something that we can do to get people back into theaters somehow. Theaters maybe need to get a little more creative to do specials during the week or on weekends or however you want to do it. I don't know. I'm not the bastion of that, but I would like people to go into theaters more.
Yeah.
Share the experience. It does change what you think of a movie sometimes.
Yeah.
The most recent one that I think I would have thought differently if I watched it at home was Poor Things. When we saw that at the Piedmont Theater, which is a fun little boutique theater. And independent theater, yeah. And I liked that movie. I think I liked it a lot more because we were surprisingly in a packed house for such a small movie, and people were having a blast, and like the things you see on screen were so ridiculous. And I just don't know if I would have liked that movie as much if I saw it at home just sitting on the couch.
100%.
So we want people to go in theaters. Please do it.
Yes.
We'll join you.
Yes.
So, all right,
when you go to the movies, though,
Me.
Yeah.
Josh Mueller?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your go-to movie theater snack?
Oh, well, you know this. I'm not a popcorn guy.
I know.
It just doesn't do it for me. The taste is whatever, and it gets stuck in my teeth, and I just don't understand it. And it gets your hands all greasy. I don't know. Somehow the popcorn industry tricked everybody into thinking it's good. It's not. I don't know. I don't get it.
It's salty and delicious. It's good.
I guess. Anyway, so my favorite...
I went a long time without getting popcorn at the movie theaters because you won't eat popcorn, and I'm not going to eat a whole thing to myself.
Not with that kind of attitude.
And the kids went through a phase where they were like, we don't know if we like popcorn either. So, but they're getting back into it. And so now we partake in popcorn.
Go for it. So to answer your question more directly, I mean, you know this. My two are peanut M&Ms. And a little bit more importantly, Sour Patch Kids.
Yep.
Just the best.
Yep.
Excuse me.
Great combination.
Yeah. Love them.
Yeah.
I also don't need a snack in a movie theater, but I like having those.
I like the mindless shoving popcorn in my mouth.
Where are you on like alcoholic drinks in movie theaters?
I could take them or leave them.
Yeah.
I
don't want to have to pee.
Right.
I have that problem.
I don't
anyway.
even want like a soda.
Right.
I'm down to just have a little bit of water.
Solid small cup of water is good with me.
Yeah.
I'd rather dehydrate and watch the whole movie and just load up later.
Yeah.
I think I had this later, although I don't know where I have it in my notes, but where are you on full on meals in a movie theater, which many movie theaters offer now?
Yeah. We have one near us, the Alameda Cineplex. And
the Alamo Draft House will do it.
Yeah. And they have like a restaurant associated with the theater.
I think the Parkway does it too. I've never been there though.
Yeah. And we've done meals at Alameda a few times.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think they've all been for kids movies with the kids.
Yeah. That's true.
Unless there's something I'm forgetting.
No, that's true. It's been with the kids. I think it's great to like be like, okay, here's lunch or here's dinner.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to like
saves us some time.
Saves us some time. The offerings are fine. They're not,
Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah.
I also selfishly I would not want to go see Dune where a bunch of people are eating around me. That would distract me.
Right.
We went and saw Kung Fu Panda 4. It was not very good. So I was
Yeah.
like, I don't care.
Yeah.
You know?
But also, we took the kids to go see Moana 2, and we went with your parents, and there was a group in front of us that ordered fish and chips. And fish and chips is like pretty strong smelling food. And
But it's fish in Moana. It was like...
It's true, but your
joking.
dad was upset.
Oh, was he? I didn't hear that.
He was like, not into smelling fried fish.
If this were Jack sitting in that chair and not you, he would be having a much hotter take and reaction to this. He hates it when people are crinkling through bags, eating food in movies. He's actually not as big of a movie theater buff. He likes going to the movie theaters, but not as big of a buff as we are because he wants to be like focused in, which I get.
That's so interesting. I don't mind like the types of situations that we've experienced where it's like a full meal in a theater is not loud.
Yeah, it hasn't really bothered me.
It's pretty convenient. It's pretty easy. I think it's maybe more disruptive when and I think the restaurants know that and are preparing the food in a way that's going to not be noisy and disruptive to the other people in the theater. It's when people are bringing in outside food.
Yeah.
And that's what's getting
like
crinkly or chip bags or that kind of like for sure. Yeah. Not into it.
And again, when we've done it, just want to hammer this home or just want to hammer this home. I don't know what I said, but to this point, we've done it in movies that I'm not particularly gravitated towards.
Right.
We're taking the kids out to a kids movie. Some kids movie, I like kids movies. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they haven't been real important to me specifically.
Yeah.
And were I to go, like when we go see Mission Impossible this summer on the opening night at midnight.
With the kids.
I will not be having a meal with that, and I don't want anybody around me to be having a meal with that. I want to see Tom
it'll
Cruise
be midnight, so hopefully we'll be
barrel roll on a biplane. It's going to be great. Anyway, food and movies. We'll bring it back home. We're going to take a quick break before we do a little deep dive on the history of food and movies. We'll see you in a little bit. Okay, so food, obviously a pretty primal experience when you share with friends, family, enemies. Can create a feeling of nostalgia, can create a feeling of camaraderie. We've kind of touched on that in the past. So anything to add on that?
Yeah, just food can be healing, it can be sexual, it can be damaging, food is life.
Yeah.
It encompasses like the human experience to the fullest.
It's obviously very nourishing.
Mm-hmm.
And well, we'll probably touch on this a little bit later, but I think in some cultures, I mean, certainly in American culture in the past, we kind of lose the sight of the act of cooking food and creating something and kind of move towards just this is fuel, you know?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where, for me, it loses the plot a little bit. I mean, everybody has schedules and time, and it's hard now, but that certainly was a huge part in food culture in the past, all throughout history. And I think that's a big part of what makes food movies so great is that they kind of honor that tradition, at least the ones that we'll probably end up talking about today.
Yeah.
Pretty easy parallel to make between a chef creating and executing a dish or even running a kitchen or a restaurant and a director overseeing a film production. Lots of ingredients to work with, lots of personalities to manage. Running a kitchen could be easily attributed to like running a movie set. I would think that that's at least part of the reason why so many directors want to tell stories given around food. I don't know. I mean, that's just something I thought of.
Yeah.
Could be wrong. That's my conjecture entirely, but I got to think that that's part of the reason. You know, Brady Corbet in his movie The Brutalist talked a lot about how the film was sort of an allegory for making films in itself in a macro way. So I would have to think that at least on some level is what some filmmakers are thinking about. All right. We got a lot of food history on film to talk about. I'm going to kind of, at least in the beginning, kind of blow right through this. The Lumiere brothers, Auguste and Louis, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, were French inventors of photography equipment. They're best known for making some of the first projection machines. So on December 28th in 1895, they held a screening of like a couple minute video that they shot, and they accepted tickets for it. This is known as the birthplace of modern cinema. At least that's what the internet tells me.
Okay.
And they got about 40 people to go and watch their screening of this film, and it was done in the Grand Cafe in Paris. So right from the get-go, and going back to Kung Fu Panda and how we ate movies during the film, right from the get-go, film was associated with food. Yeah. And I think that's pretty cool. Don't really have a whole lot to add to that. I just thought it was cool. Some of the first motion pictures, again, short films, even some by Lumiere brothers themselves, were of people eating. A movie called Cheese Mitts was 3 minutes long, and it was censored. It was the first act of censorship in film because it was about people eating cheese, and the people censoring it thought it was gross and would hurt the cheese industry.
Okay.
I don't know how you feel about that.
Cheese is delicious.
Yeah. Probably get me to eat more cheese. I don't know. I haven't seen
Cheese
it.
Mitts.
Cheese Mitts crowd. Speak up. Charlie Chaplin in Gold Rush had a famous scene where he shoved forks into a couple dinner rolls and made them dance almost like a can. And that was honored or homaged or copied, however you want to say it, by Johnny Depp in Benny and June in the early 90s.
Okay.
You ever seen Benny and June?
I have not.
It's okay. I remember I haven't seen it in 25 years, but I definitely saw it in my I have to see every Johnny Depp movie phase.
Right.
Which I went through. It's okay.
Okay.
Showed up early in animation with Lady and the Tramp, iconic scene. I don't know if it'll show up. I kind of debated whether I even should mention it in case it comes up. I guess it would have already because it's not really a food movie. And
right.
we didn't mention it.
But, I want to take this moment to jump in with a secret top 5 category.
What?
That I have not told you was coming.
Oh, okay. All right. Jack and I have done this to each other.
Okay. Yeah, that famous scene from Lady and the Tramp with the spaghetti and the meatballs.
This is the night.
They're sharing the one long noodle.
Beautiful night.
I wanted to ask you, what are your top 5 memorable animated movie foods?
Wow.
I'm going to go first.
Okay.
And give you a little time to think.
Okay.
I'm going to start with number 5. An early food memory for me is from Aladdin.
Okay.
And it's the bread scene in the beginning.
Oh, good one.
Where Aladdin and Abu, they steal the bread. They're running away. They finally go break the bread and they're about to eat it. And there are these 2 little children who don't have any food. And Aladdin shares his bread. And Abu is kind of like, no, this is my bread. Right. And he takes a big old bite of it. And just like that piece of bread with the bite out of it just sticks in my head as like when I was a child being like, I want that bread. Yeah. And that bread looks so good. My number 4, this is going to be a weird one.
Okay.
Memorable animated movie food are the bugs in Lion King.
Oh.
The little cream-filled kind.
Right. The grubs, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
They're so colorful. They look so plump and juicy. I'm not trying to be out here eating bugs, but that to me was like a really memorable food scene. And he's like slurping it down and he's like, yeah, slimy yet satisfying.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
My number 3 is from Miyazaki's film Ponyo.
Okay.
And it's the bowl of ramen that Ponyo and Sosuke have.
I don't know if I remember this.
I've
seen Ponyo, but
we didn't watch
been
it
a
together.
Long time.
It's like a bowl of instant ramen.
Yeah.
It's the dry noodles in the bowl, pour the boiling water, put the lid on. Oh, we have to wait 3 minutes. And then Sosuke's mom tells them to close their eyes while they're waiting, and she secretly puts in some pork and eggs and some scallions on top, and then surprises them by taking the lids off and revealing the ramen in its now upgraded state, and it just looks so good. Another Miyazaki coming in for my number 2, and that's from Howl's Moving Castle.
Yeah.
And it's the breakfast scene where Sophie and Howl are cooking bacon and eggs, putting the slabs of bacon cracking the eggs, tossing the shells to calcifer the fire underneath, and then they just like sit and have breakfast, and just a great little scene. And then my number one animated movie food is a 2-for-1 because they're the same in my mind. They're just from completely different films. It's pizza
Oh.
from a Goofy movie
Oh, nice.
and All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Nice.
The cheese just looks, the slices just look so like melty and like cheese pull and delicious. And that it's just, I always wanted to eat that pizza.
Well, that's a great list. And I'm really happy that you didn't choose any of the ones that I was trying to come up with frantically in my mind.
Great.
So that's great. Speaking of Goofy movie, we also have Hi Dad Soup.
Hi Dad Soup.
And we also have the Leaning Tower of Cheese.
Leaning Tower of Cheese.
So that's good. I'm going to use that.
Okay.
I can't believe you didn't use, what's the guy, the chef from Little Mermaid, doing his
yes.
I can't think of it off the top of my head, but where he's cooking and he's singing and
Les Poissons.
that's what it is. Yeah, right. And Sebastian's like scared out of his mind and he's
running
trying to
for
escape.
his life.
Yeah, that's a good one. You know this, and it's really random, but my first active memory that I can actually remember is I was eating a peanut butter and jelly at my former, I guess babysitters, but really
Like
daycare.
Yeah.
And I was doing it in the style that Spike reveals himself to the other characters in The Land Before Time, where he's eating the grass around him. And I was trying to mimic that. And that's like the first time I remember that. So I'm going to go with my guy Spike.
Yes.
From Land Before Time. Got to throw Winnie the Pooh in there with honey.
Oh, the honey. Yes.
And then I'll also kind of cheat a little bit. I already mentioned Be Our Guest, but try the gray stuff.
The
it's
gray
delicious.
stuff. She sticks her finger right in there.
That's right.
Yes.
Little pate, not going to hurt anybody.
Yes.
Wow, good one, Rebecca.
Amazing.
Was that 5?
That was, I think that was 5.
Okay. Awesome. So that was fun. A turning point, going back to the history lesson here, a turning point in food on films, or on screens anyway, if not films, was the popularity of cooking shows, mostly attributed to Julia Child, who is very famous and a businesswoman and a screen presence, and she was very famous for teaching French. She was an American teaching French cooking to the masses. What are your thoughts on, I don't know, cooking shows or Julia Childs or whatever?
Yeah. I grew up watching The GOAT, PBS. Shout out to PBS, KQED, Channel 9.
Yeah.
So as a kid, I have really a lot of memories of watching Jacques Pepin and Martin Yan of Yan Can Cook and Lydia Bastianich cooking Italian dishes. And
I don't even know who that last person is.
oh my gosh, just wonderful, wonderful TV personalities before that was like a thing,
Yeah.
before it was like celebrity personalities.
Well, then, I mean, Food Network really took off, and people of our age, everybody had a Food Network obsession at some point.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. We watched a lot of Bobby Flay.
A lot of Triple D.
I mean, Iron Chef.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
It was on a lot. We don't
Yeah.
watch it anymore. I mean, we don't have cable anymore, but
just movies now.
well, I mean, but we do still watch a lot of YouTube videos with people online cooking.
We do. Yeah.
Kenji,
Yeah.
I
Kenji
really
Lopez
like
Alt.
Allison Roman. I
Yep.
like her because she's using ingredients that I probably already have in my home to make good, simple food. That's
Yeah.
at this point in my life, that's what I'm looking for.
Exactly.
So anyway, I
Yes.
thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
In the 80s, food movies became a little bit more prevalent to where, I mean, you kind of touched on this earlier. You could almost call it a genre. I don't know if that's necessarily correct, but it's close. Much of that was delivered to audience through foreign cinema. So we touched on this earlier. Why do you think that is? What do you think that says about our culture in the U.S. that a lot of these came from other countries first? I should also say that there's a lot of movies that are American movies that you later find out were actually remakes of foreign movies.
Right.
They're centered around food specifically,
Right.
I should say.
Right.
So even some of your favorite movies out there, if you're listening, that are American movies, do a little quick Google check
and see.
and make sure
Is
it's
it
not
a
a foreign.
remake?
Yeah, it might be a remake.
Yeah.
So why do you think that is? What do you think that says about our culture?
Well, I mean, I think that's kind of like what America is as a definition. It's the, the proverbial melting pot of so many different cultures. And I think that when you leave the United States, you're going to different places that have really distinct and really
long-standing historical
traditions and
yeah.
cultures. And there's obviously nuance within that, within each of these different cultures, and there are different food traditions, but for the most part you're getting a really strong sense of who these people are and how they take their food from the land and how they use their food to nourish their people. And I think that when you come to America, you're definitely getting a lot of other cultures. That's what we are. We are like a giant amalgamation of a bajillion different cultures coming together. I think that it's very easy for us to access other countries' food.
Well, we should also say that we live in the Bay Area, where it's probably a little bit easier for us than it is even in other parts of the country.
That's very true.
We live in a big metropolitan area, one that prides itself in having a bunch of different access to different cultures of foods.
Yes.
So
yeah, that's true.
Not the same for everybody, but again, that also goes into, maybe I'm making a bigger deal out of this, but in the 50s, especially after, people started getting jobs again, women started going to the workforce a little bit more. There wasn't enough time for people to spend all day cooking, and processed foods became a big thing in our culture specifically, and has stayed that way today. Also, big chain restaurants are available. I mean, fast food is readily available. So I think, I don't know because I haven't spent too much time in other countries, but I would think that that's much more prevalent here than it is in other places. That's, again, just my conjecture. I don't know that. But.
And, you see a lot of Americanization also going into these other countries. Like you could go to McDonald's in Japan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we have this food culture that can be very heavily processed, very convenience focused, and also very capitalistic in trying to reach out and establish around the world and not just in the United States.
Yeah, but even, again, I'm not sure about this. I think I'm sure about this. But even in other countries, the way they make the burger patty in a McDonald's is different than the way they make it in the United States.
Right.
If you go to Mexico, the Coke that they use there is made with actual sugar.
Right.
Which is why it tastes better. And they do it here, it's much more processed. So even that, this is probably a podcast unto itself. I don't know how far we down this road we want to go, but it is interesting to see that a lot of these foreign countries have a very rich food cultural presence and are putting that into movies in a way that really celebrates the act of cooking food.
Yeah.
So anyway, thought that was interesting. Lots of history of food placement in films.
Yes.
Just going to run through these. McDonald's, we mentioned it all over the place. They even made The Founder, which I don't really think is necessarily...
and Super Size Me? Remember that?
God,
I mean, they didn't make that, but that was like a big thing.
Domino's Pizza and Ninja Turtles, Reese's Pieces and E.T.
Oh, yes.
Mel's Drive-In, a little bit different. That was certainly a thing from American Graffiti.
Yeah.
Certainly a thing, but I mean, then it became like a mega chain, at least all over California.
Oh, I used to go to Mel's Drive-In all the time. It was right by my elementary school.
Yeah. And then, Harold and Kumar go to White Castle. Wayne's World had a whole section of spoofs specifically directed towards this. We actually watched this movie recently on Family Movie Night.
Show the kids for the first time.
Yeah. And Rebecca for maybe the second time in 30 years. Didn't go as well as I'd hoped.
not my favorite movie.
Yeah,
and
well,
that's okay.
It's okay. We don't have to like the same things, but I just want to acknowledge it made me sad a little bit. I love Wayne's World. And then surprisingly, it actually works the other way around too. So Bubba Gump's became a huge chain restaurant after the success of Forrest Gump. Cat's Deli from When Harry Met Sally is a thing. Obviously, the Happy Meal, is a McDonald's thing, but they constantly tie in movies and superheroes and whatever as the little toy you get in your Happy Meal.
Yeah.
Disney's all over this. They have a Star Wars restaurant. There's Remy's Cafe in Disneyland. They have a bunch of them. You can even now get a butterbeer at Universal Studios.
Yeah, we got
a butterbeer.
We even got Duff beer from The Simpsons.
I was about to say, I don't have this on my notes, but got a little bone to pick with Universal Studios because, I'm very happy that it's a long day at these parks. If you have kids, it's very hot. You're waiting in lines. The fact that they serve beer, I was very excited. So I went and got my wife and I a beer at Duff Beer for The Simpsons. But they only let me get one beer at a time.
Yeah.
Which was a big...
ridiculous.
Yeah. Just let me get two. I get it. You don't want people getting really drunk around kids, but also my wife's watching the kids.
Yeah.
We
can't make our kids stand in line.
Two separate waiting in lines and trips. I had to run all the way back, hand my wife a beer, run all the way back, get another beer. I was upset. Let me get two beers at once.
Yeah.
Thank you, Universal Studios. I'm going to write a very strongly worded letter. Apparently there was a Jack's Cafe from the Titanic.
What?
Built in the shape of the Titanic.
Where was this?
It was in LA, I think. I should have put that in my notes, but I'm pretty sure it was in LA. Don't know if it's still open. Can't imagine that was a real...
That's kind of insane.
Yeah. A lot of overhead, I imagine, on that one. And they had film-specific menus, too, which I thought was cool. Huh. And then also, apparently, there's an alien-themed bar and cigar bar in the Geiger Museum in Switzerland, which is dedicated to H.R. Geiger, who did the art direction on the film.
I have not seen Alien.
Yeah, that was my next question. When are you going to watch Alien with me?
You know,
this is not real food related. I just want to throw in an Alien reference.
I will watch it with you at some point. I will.
It's on record.
Yes. Probably not today. I can't imagine wanting to eat or drink in a bar or restaurant themed after Alien.
Well,
that seems very unappetizing.
See, that's why different strokes, Rebecca.
Yeah,
Sounds
and here
great.
I am saying the bugs in Lion King looked real good. So.
Yeah, man. I just want to go get a cocktail and see all the art direction and some xenomorphs around me.
I'll take your word for
Sounds
it.
great. So long history of food and film. We got a couple big top fives to get through. You want to take a quick break before we do it?
Let's take a little break.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come right back. All right, coming back. Again, the meat and vegetables and starch of the episode.
Vegetable lasagna. Seinfeld reference, not a movie, sorry.
Oh. We sound 50 years old, which is great. So we did top 5 food sequences in non-food movies, but this is a food movie podcast. Mm-hmm. And so now we're going to do our top 5 sequences that are food sequences from food movies. Whew, that was tough to say. This can be dining. This can be creating food. Mm-hmm. Kind of a wide open field. Mm-hmm. I got to be honest. Well, I'll save it for the next one. But you want to go first or you want me to go first?
You go first.
Okay, I'm going to go first. Here's what I got. Top 5 food sequences in food movies.
Okay.
Number 5, The Chocolate Room from Willy Wonka.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Come with me and you'll see a world of imagination.
Oh, I loved when he took a bite of the little buttercup.
Yeah. It's a great scene.
Great scene.
I don't really have more to say about that. I imagine everybody's seen it. It's a really fun, magical scene. Number 4, I got the Cubano. I had a couple that I could have chosen from Chef, but I went with the Cubano scene where, they're making the roast pork. His son's in the food truck. John Leguizamo's there. I always love that. and then they assemble it, and then they're immediately like, "Yeah, is this good? It's good. Great, we're open." And then they're
And
just
then they're
going. The kids
slinging
like, "What?"
Cubanos.
And they're slinging Cubanos. It's pretty good. I don't know if I want to spoil the plot here. I don't love the movie, but the actual cooking scenes in the movie are very good.
Yes.
I don't know what's your thoughts on Chef? Is it going to make your top 5? Actually, maybe I shouldn't.
No spoilers.
Yeah, maybe. I don't love. It's not going to make mine. Spoilers. I don't love the movie, but the cooking scene. I almost went with the grilled cheese scene, which is really good. There's also a really good scene where he's cooking pasta, and then he cooks a whole meal that he didn't get to cook in the restaurant. A bunch of good cooking scenes, but I don't love the movie. Number 3, I have Babette's Feast in Babette's Feast. Again, the movie, I do really like this movie. It's a 1987 film. I think it's a Swedish film.
Danish film.
It's from someone named Gabriel Axel. I'm not really sure I'm pronouncing that right. I apologize. It's a really good movie. I would say it's kind of a slow burn, but then when you actually get to the titular feast,
yes,
it's really great. Not only is it a combination of her cooking all these crazy dishes, but you get the subtle reaction from the rest of the crowd and the euphoric reaction from the army general. It's a really good combination.
I'm going to jump in because this was going to be in my top 5, but you've listed it, so I'm going to take it out. But that it's just the group of diners that are coming in to enjoy the dinner guests are like they
uber religious.
So religious. They're afraid that this really extravagant meal being prepared by Babette is going to be so sinful. It's the devil enticing them. So they've all committed to approaching this dinner as if they have no taste. They're not going to talk about the food. They're not going to react to it at all.
Right.
And except for the general,
who's loving life,
who's coming in and he's like,
every sip of wine, he's like, "This is the best.
This year of this wine, isn't it great?" And the guy is like,
"Yeah, it's sunny outside."
Yeah. And then over the course of the meal, they're trying so hard not to talk about the food, but they are loving it.
It's so great. And at the end, they're all drunk and having a good time and singing and dancing outside.
And like rekindling old romances and like righting old wrongs that they'd done to each other, just like totally coming together in this great way.
A little bit of a slow movie, but the ending is worth it. It's phenomenal. A good movie. Number 2, I have the opening for Eat, Drink, Man, Woman. Really, really good. Directed by Ang Lee, which I did not know, actually.
Yeah.
Really, really good. It's about an aging chef and his 3 daughters that he's trying to raise. Their mother died many years before when they were all young. And so he's been raising these 3 daughters who all have their own individual problems. And the opening scene is just him cooking a ridiculously awesome Sunday night, which he always does, Sunday night family dinner, Chinese style cooking. And it just looks great. And you get a lot of knife work, and you get a lot of frying things, and you get a lot of, dumpling folding. And it's just really, it's cut really well. It's really fast paced. It's just great. I love it.
Amazing.
And number 1. So I tried to, this is going to be another spoiler alert. I tried to keep my scenes separate from my eventual top 5 films. Mm-hmm. But my number 1, I just couldn't do it. I have the making of and ego eating the ratatouille in Ratatouille. Mm-hmm. It's just a beautiful scene. And that's kind of the power of food that we're talking about. He takes one bite of this ratatouille after being a complete dick the whole time. He takes one bite of the ratatouille.
And he's
immediately transported back.
That scene that like zooms in real fast, and he's a kid again.
He's got a scrape on his knee, a tear in his eye, and his mom makes him ratatouille. It's just great, and that's like
the pen, the slow mo of the pen dropping from his hand and.
He's not an analyst anymore. He's just a pure enjoyer of the meal he's having. It's just really, really good. Phenomenal. And then the sous chef who's there being a spy, he's like, "I'll have what he's having." And he's like, "Ratatouille, these guys are Joe." And then he just can't stop eating it. It's so good. Yes. Oh, man. I love that. It's really,
I demand to know.
Really, really good. So that's my 5. I mean, I had a bunch more, but again, I had to try to be a little strategic.
Nice.
So.
Nice.
So give me your top 5.
Okay. Coming in at number 5 for me is a scene from the movie Like Water for Chocolate.
Okay. I've seen it. I'm not a scholar on this film.
Probably
so
a long time ago,
take
right?
the lead. Yeah, a long
Yeah.
time ago.
It's the quail with rose sauce scene. And
Okay.
so this movie is it's an
Do
adaptation.
we have this movie?
I don't know. We might. It's an adaptation of a novel, Como Agua para Chocolate, by Laura Esquivel, and it's takes place in the early 1900s in Mexico, and it's a magical realism story about a love that can never be. And it's the titular character, Tita, and she is making a dish out of rose petals that her love of her life gives her roses. They're not together because the mom has forbidden it and has married him off to her sister.
Right.
It's like a whole thing.
This is sounding familiar.
Yes. And so Pedro gives Tita these roses, and the mom's like, you got to throw those roses away. And she's like, I'm going to cook with them. And so she makes a dish, and it's quail with rose petal sauce. And she puts her like love and passion into this dish. And as she's serving it to everybody, they're all taking bites, and they're all like having these very sexual reactions. They're getting very aroused, and like it's phenomenal. The sister who ended up marrying the guy is like, I need to leave the table. The mom is like, it's too salty, but you can see her like dabbing her face because she's like also getting aroused. And the other sister gets so aroused, she's like undressing at the table. She gets so hot and steamy, she has to run out and go take a shower in like the outside, like outhouse shower area. And she's so hot and aroused by this dinner that she ends up setting the shower house on fire.
I remember that. And
yes.
I was like, what's going on in this movie?
Yes.
But hey, magical realism.
Love. Beautiful scene. Beautiful scene. Okay. My number 4 is from the movie Big Night.
Yeah.
Stanley Tucci directed this with Campbell Scott, who is the car salesman from the movie, which I didn't realize. It's the timpano scene and also like the meal.
Yeah.
And it just speaks to like
that's like the crescendo of the scene.
Yes, and it speaks to what I love about food is like the communal coming together of people. And timpano is this like really extravagant, takes all day type of dish to make, and they're like, should we make it? We don't have enough time, but they decide to make it anyway.
Yeah.
And it's them like, oh, taking it out of the oven and like, okay, we got to serve this up, and like,
no, it's too hot to serve. No, but we have to serve it. We don't have any time.
Yeah, exactly. And bringing it
serve
out.
it at the table.
And then their like competitor, their like kind of friend but kind of restaurant competitor from down the street is like taking a bite.
Bilbo Baggins.
And he like slams his hand on the table. He's so angry. He is like, damn it. And everyone's like, oh my God. Because everyone is like, oh my God, this is so good. And he's like, this is too good. This is too good.
Yeah.
Just a wonderful scene. And all the other dishes that they bring out too. And then they're all so full. And then here they come bringing out, Primo and Segundo come out bringing a whole roast pig. Like,
yeah.
Great
really
scene.
Good. I'm going to jump in here and say, I love that scene.
Yes.
And it's great.
Yes.
And doing my research, that was the big famous scene from the movie, and rightly so. But I almost put in another scene from this movie, which I didn't for, again, spoiler alert, reasons that I'll get to in a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to talk about this movie.
The omelet scene.
The omelet scene
at the end of the movie
is a really beautiful scene where it's just all one shot. It's a wide shot.
Yep.
Stanley Tucci gets up, makes an omelet for, they're all tired from the night before. And he just, from beginning to end, scrambles it, cooks it, folds it over, hands it out to his brother and his other coworker. It's a really beautiful scene. So that would have been the scene that I put in if I put one in.
Amazing. Okay, my number 3, also from the wonderfully animated film Ratatouille, is Remy's soup.
Yeah.
He's in the kitchen and he's running past the pot of soup that Linguini has decided to like improvise and totally destroy. And he like has this gag reflex of like, oh no, running past the soup. And then you just see his eyes like kind of slowly blink, and he's like, oh, but I want to fix this.
I can fix this.
I can do this. And you just see him leaping over, like tossing things.
Well,
into
he
the
throws
soup.
a couple ingredients in first.
Yes.
Let's just like make this palatable. And then as he's leaving, that's when
he
eyes
gets the
flutter,
dreamy eyes.
and
Yeah.
he's like, oh, actually, you know what? I could do this.
I love to cook. Yes. So that's coming in at my number 3. My number 2 is from the beautiful movie The Taste of Things.
Yeah.
I mean, that whole, can I just put that whole movie as my
We might
number
have to.
2 food movie sequence? It's amazing. The whole first probably 20 to
Half an
30 minutes
hour?
of the
Yeah.
movie is are the main characters cooking in their kitchen, and they're preparing a meal for Dodin, he is the owner of the estate. They're preparing a meal for his friends. They're all gastronomers, gourmets. They basically, aside from their everyday jobs, they are lovers of food.
Yeah.
Like, it is a passion,
Right.
but to eat it,
Right.
not necessarily to make it. But Dodin loves to cook it as well, and he cooks it with the help of his longtime companion, Eugenie, played by the wonderful, beautiful Juliette Binoche. And
Yes.
they just dance. The way they move around the kitchen together, it's like they've been doing it for so long. They know exactly where the other's going to be in the room. They know exactly what needs to happen next. It's just orchestrated so beautifully. And then, of course, Tran Anh Hung is a phenomenal director of this movie, and it just is a beautiful movie.
It's a great movie.
And my number 1, this is a nostalgia one for me, similar to your Eat, Drink, Man, Woman intro scene.
Okay,
for
I know what
me,
you're gonna
it's
do.
the intro scene to Tortilla Soup,
Yeah.
which we talked about, is the remake. What year was that? That was 2001 remake of Ang
So,
Lee's Eat, Drink, Man, Woman.
Man, Woman was 94. So
Yeah. Okay, so a few years later, and it's the scene of the father of the household, in this case, Hector Elizondo. Love Hector Elizondo in a film, preparing the Sunday night meal for his 3 grown daughters, and just like watching him, gut the fish and like scrape the spines off the cactus, the nopal, and making the achiote paste to go on top.
So
of
he's
like
cooking Latin-inspired food
instead of Chinese food.
I don't know if he's specifically Mexican in the movie. I can't remember, but they're of Latin descent.
Yes.
And in Eat, Drink, Man, Woman, it takes place in China. So he's cooking very elevated Chinese
food. Yeah.
Food, so.
And both of the fathers in this family are chefs.
Yes.
So they are.
The movies are like
experts.
exactly the same.
Yeah. Almost word for word.
Yeah.
A couple plot differences towards the end.
A couple.
But
not many.
yeah.
A lot of the same beats. They're both very good.
Wonderful.
I recommend watching both.
Yeah. I agree. Tortilla Soup. That's my number 1.
Yeah. Tortilla Soup is one that we saw that first because you grew up with that movie.
I did.
And then we saw Eat, Drink, Man, Woman later on in life.
Yes.
But they're both very good.
Yes.
All right. We've come to the pinnacle.
Here we go.
Here's
Drum roll.
Who would like to go first?
Should we alternate?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes. Let's alternate.
Okay.
I like that. Well, Jack and I don't usually do this, but I suggested it, and now that he's not here, let's workshop some things.
Let's try it out.
Yeah, so we're gonna alternate. Rebecca, give me your number 5 movie that is a food movie.
My number 5 food movie is the 2000 romance Chocolat.
Okay.
Again, starring the beautiful Juliette Binoche.
Yeah, it's a little bit lower than I thought it would be for you.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
There are other movies that I think have just a little bit more pull for me, but I think number 5 is a strong. There's a lot of food movies out there.
There are.
There are a lot that didn't make the list.
Yeah, and I should also say, at least for me, I thought this podcast would be like really. How do I say this? There are a lot of food movies, but when I really got down to making my list, there weren't too many that I was choosing from.
Yeah, there's a lot of food movies, but not a lot of standout.
Yeah, not ones that I thought were worthy of the list. I had to make some tough cuts, but not as many as I thought, based on how many food movies we've seen.
Yes.
There was like a gap in between tier 1 and tier 7.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is, we mentioned it already, Big Night.
Wonderful.
It's really good. The only reason I didn't put any scenes in my food sequence scenes, whatever I just said, is because I knew I was going to talk about the movie. in my top 5 movies. So I kind of excluded those.
Yes.
It's really, really good. Really great cooking. Love Stanley Tucci. Love Tony Shalhoub.
Yes.
Stanley Tucci, my guy.
Mark
Mitch
Anthony.
Garabedian in. Oh, that's right.
Mark Anthony.
That's right. Yeah, it's really, really good. It's simple.
Fabulous cast. It's a great ensemble.
Small movie.
A wonderful story about an immigrant family trying to make it in 1950s Jersey.
Yeah, and brotherhood and sticking together, family, all the things
Love
that we're
of
kind of
food.
talking about with loving food.
Yeah.
So big night, really good one.
Amazing.
What's your number 4?
My number 4 is the 1985 ramen western Tampopo.
Yeah.
Have we talked about this movie at all yet? I think
We have not. There's about 17 scenes I could have put in the food scenes, but again, spoiler alert, this will also make my list. So
Yeah.
go ahead. You have the floor.
Okay. Well, it's a wonderful, wonderful story about a couple of truck drivers who are take on the job of helping a woman improve, perfect, refine her ramen. She owns a ramen restaurant. She has a son. And along the way of kind of figuring out how to, make great broth, make great noodles, all of the different components that go into it, the movie is interspersed with all of these other vignettes throughout the movie that are just like love letters to food. And
they're all good.
They're all fantastic. They're like quirky as hell. There's one with like an old lady who likes to like squish and poke food in a store.
Oh, right.
It's just like, you're just like, oh my God, what am I watching? This woman is like shoving her fingers inside of like peaches and like, cheese. And the store clerk is like chasing her around the store and she's like hiding because she doesn't want to get caught. But, of course there's a, once you see it, you can never unsee it, vignette between the Yakuza like gang guy and his lover. And they're like getting real erotic like all kinds of food, licking things off of body parts. There's like a part where he puts like a live shrimp or something on her belly, like under a bowl. Yeah.
Woo!
But of course,
the eggs, man, they have egg yolks in their mouth and they're passing it back and forth into the other person's mouth. That was the one time I was like, ooh, this is like, I don't know.
But it's like until the yolk bursts in her mouth and is like dribbling out of her mouth and she like orgasms at the same time. It's an incredibly powerful scene. If you're not ready for it,
get ready. It's a great movie,
get ready. Though. But just a wonderful, wonderful movie. Highly recommend everybody watch this movie.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. All right, what's your number 4?
Right. We're going back and forth. Right. My number 4 is a 2021 film by Michael Sarnowski, a little movie called Pig with Nicolas Cage. It is a really interesting small movie. He's this hermit that lives in the woods, and he has a truffle pig who helps him hunt truffles in Oregon. And someone comes in and steals the guy's pig. And you think it's going to be just a bloodbath, a revenge movie. It is not. There is a weird scene where there's like an underground culinary worker fight club scene.
Okay.
I
haven't seen this movie.
Yeah. It's good. You'd like it. I still don't really know what's going on in that scene. But that aside, there are a bunch of really good scenes where he's just trying to get his pig back, man. Just wants his pig back. There's a really great cooking scene towards the end of the movie. I know you haven't seen it, so I won't ruin anything. And it's a great performance by Nicolas Cage. I just loved it. I didn't know anything about it. Heard it was good. Threw it on, and it was great. Really, really like it. I don't want to say too much because you haven't seen it, but for those of you who haven't seen Pig out there, it's a different movie. It's unique. It's original. Go see it. It's really good.
Amazing. Put it on my list.
Number 3.
Okay. My number 3 I already talked about is Tortilla Soup.
Yeah.
It's just a movie that I grew up with. it really is how a family comes together around food
Yeah.
and how they share their life experiences with each other around the dinner table.
Right.
Big announcements are made, life changes happen over food. It's just phenomenal. Great cast,
Great cooking scenes.
great cooking scenes, and yeah, must watch.
Yeah. You could easily put Eat, Drink, Man, Woman here because they're very similar movies, but you grew up with this one. So you
And
kind of
Each Man
gravitate.
Woman is a little bit more melancholy. It's a little bit has a little bit of a sadder tone, I think.
Yeah.
I think Tortilla Soup is a little bit more vibrant, a little bit more comedic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plot points are pretty much the same except for a couple differences, but yeah, the tone is slightly lighter in Tortilla Soup.
Yes.
Not even that much, but slightly.
Yeah.
My number 3 is The Taste of Things. We mentioned it.
We can talk about this at the same time because this is my number 2.
Okay.
So your number 3, my number 2.
It's absolutely wonderful. The opening sequence, again, just because I wanted to talk about it in my top food movies, I didn't put it in the other one. I also love the scene where I guess it's like a rare bird that they steam and then they put
Ortolan.
Okay, I believe you. And they have to. I guess the process. First of all, I think it's illegal in the movie or something like that.
I think maybe it's illegal here in the United States. I'm not sure. I mean, back then it wasn't. It's like a delicacy
Also, who's
for
enforcing
sure.
that? But
Yeah.
It's all these dudes sitting around a table, and I guess it's a really small bird, and you eat it whole, the whole thing. And so it's polite to put a napkin over your head so that nobody sees what's going on, and also you get all the aromas of the birds trapped inside, so you can smell. It's like a immersive experience. They're all sitting there like,
yeah, it's
with
like
napkins
messy.
over their head. Yeah.
So it's like you don't want to be impolite by showing how like messy it is, and also the napkin is trapping in, yeah, like you said, all the aromas. And then I think the napkin originally started too because it was like a religious thing. Like you didn't want God to see you consuming the bird in this way.
I did not know that.
And so
Babette's Feast throwback.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, interesting.
Also, gonna tie in, there's a scene in Big Night where Tony Shalhoub is kind of awkwardly seducing Allison Janney in the kitchen while the feast is going on, and he's, sharing his philosophies around food, and he's trying to explain to her that to eat good food is to be close to God.
Yeah.
And she's just like, wow. And it's just like, yeah, it's food is everything.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Taste of
Things is great.
So
Came out
beautiful.
in 2023. Really, I mean, it didn't get a wide release, or at least it didn't get a lot of popularity, but it's really, well, that's not even the right word. It didn't get a lot of public notice. Not a lot of people saw it.
Right.
And you should. It's really, really good.
It was my number 1 of 2023 on Letterboxd.
Whoa.
Shout out to Letterboxd.
Okay.
That was my number 1 movie of 2023. And we are, even to this day, like trying to find a Blu-ray copy of this movie.
Yeah, man. Release it on Blu-ray or 4K.
Yeah. Like we could get it on DVD, I think, but like we want the good.
I want the that's right. I want to see that in high definition.
Wonderful. Yeah, The Taste of Things, so beautiful. And like just tying back even the simplicity of eggs. I think we've talked a lot about eggs in this episode, and just the simple act at the start of the movie. Usually makes Dodan an omelet every day for breakfast. It's like it's the start of his day every day. And there is a point later on in the movie where they even share a very simple omelet almost in silence, and they're eating it as like a dinner and just sharing this one omelet, eating it with a spoon, and just having wonderful conversation. And then again, even later in the movie, not going to give a lot of spoilers, but you can just see there's an omelet being prepared in the kitchen, and you see him sleeping in his bed, and he wakes up to the aroma of the omelet and is just so excited about this omelet. And
it's really, really good.
Phenomenal movie. All right, so that was your number 3 and my number 2.
And
so
my
now
number
your number
2
2
is Tampopo.
Tampopo.
We mentioned it again. I'm not going to harp on it too much. It's a wonderful movie. It's funny. It's fun. It's a little bit like a Western. I've talked about this. It came up in another podcast where we were talking about 85. It's coming up in this podcast. It might come up in a relatively short-term future podcast. I promise I've seen other movies. But Tampopo is really good. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. Just another thing to throw out. My favorite of the... well, maybe not my favorite, but another one of the... little vignettes that I really like is when all the businessmen are sitting down for dinner and ordering, and they all kind of order the same thing because they don't know what to order.
It's like a fancy French menu.
And they order salmon with the soup or consomme with a beer. Like pretty much all of them at least order 95% of that exact order.
They all order the same.
And then it gets to a young kid who's kind of stumbling through.
He's
his
like
dad's
an intern
there.
almost.
Yeah, he's dad's making him stand up straight and sit down when the other ones sit down, and he's kind of just all over the place. But then it's his turn to order, and he's asking the waiter questions and what year is this wine and how do you cook the whatever.
Is this the preparation they have at that French restaurant that
and they're like, oh yes sir it is, and they're all just like embarrassed that he knows it, and he's just like loving the food, and he just orders what he wants, and it's just great. It's just really, really great.
Amazing scene.
So Tampopo.
All right,
we do have that on Blu-ray.
We do. Criterion.
Number 1, you didn't mention it yet. I didn't mention it yet. I gotta think it's the same movie.
We've mentioned it earlier.
Well, but I know how much you love this movie.
Should we say it at the same time? Your number 1, my number 1?
1, 2, 3, Ratatouille.
Yes.
Ratatouille's great.
Wonderful. It's just all encompassing. There's passion behind the food. All of the scenes are, I think with animation you can really just do things that you can't with real food sometimes. Even the beginning scenes where Remy is trying to explain to his brother of like how flavors go together, and he takes a bite of the cheese and a bite of the strawberry, and you see the music notes kind of dancing around and like creating a symphony of flavors in his mouth. And it's just from the beginning foraging food, mushrooms and grass while his relatives are digging through the trash.
The lightning scene
really
has a zap.
Yeah.
The music is fantastic. It obviously looks incredible because, you know, Pixar, well, not everyone, but it just looks incredible seeing Paris like that. It's just great.
Yes. And then, you know, the overall theme of the movie, which is that anyone can cook. And I think that just resonates so much. Top food movie for sure.
Yeah. It's really wonderful. Directed by Brad Bird.
Brad Bird.
You know what else he directed?
Iron Giant.
Damn. Nice. Good work. Do you know what else he directed?
The Incredibles?
Yes. And there's one live action movie that you've seen that he's directed.
Live action?
Yeah. To my knowledge, it's the only live action that he did direct, but he might have directed more.
You'll have to tell me
actually,
that one.
I know another one too. But Mission Impossible 3, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No way.
I think he directed the third one. I know he directed a Mission Impossible.
Action movies and then Ratatouille.
Yes, it's great. Wonderful. And they're all bangers.
Thank you for the departure.
Yeah, it's really, really good. I love that movie. I don't really have anything more to add. It's just wonderful.
Amazing. Any
honorable mentions that we didn't get to? I guess we kind of...
yeah, so many. Yeah, I mean, we talked about like Water for Chocolate, Babette's Feast.
We didn't mention Julia and Julia at all in this podcast.
I know. My issue with that movie is that I love the Meryl Streep parts, the Julia Child parts.
Yes, I completely agree. I do not like the Amy Adams parts.
They fall flat for me. Yeah. It's
and
like
that's half the movie.
Yeah. So it's like I couldn't put it in any lists. I guess a great food scene from that movie would be when Julia Child is learning how to chop onions.
Yeah.
And she's got the by the end
humongous pile of onions.
The whole table of onions, and she's like, at the beginning she's like, I don't know how to do this, and by the end she's like,
Stanley Tucci also in that movie.
Yes.
I love it when Stanley Tucci shows up in a movie.
Yeah. He's good.
We didn't mention Mostly Martha either. That movie's really good.
That movie was great.
A little heavy.
Yeah, a little
but
heavy.
it was good.
You might know it as the American remake, No Reservations,
Which I have not seen.
I have not seen. Most people say if you're gonna watch this story, watch Mostly Martha. No Reservations is no good.
Yes, and make your own opinions. So if you like No Reservations, no shot at you. But Mostly Martha is really, really great. It's a German movie, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
It doesn't really have any like standout food scenes for a food movie. I almost put it on my
Right.
top 5 movies though.
Yeah, same.
It was close.
It was a
like
contender.
6 or 7.
Yeah.
And I wanted it included somehow, so I'm glad we're doing this now because I wanted to include it, but it just didn't quite make it.
Yes. Another movie, The 100-Foot Journey,
Yeah, that movie's good.
with Helen Mirren. Again, another like pretty famous omelet scene, egg scene. The audition process for working for this woman is to prepare her an omelet, and the kind of rival family that is opening a restaurant across the street from her Michelin star restaurant. The chef there makes her an omelet that is unlike any she's ever had, and he clearly has the gift. Great movie. Again, wonderful. Maybe not top 5, but
Right.
great movie. Jiro Dreams of Sushi documentary.
Oh, that's a good one.
Also fabulous about a man's kind of obsession around being the greatest
Yeah.
sushi maker, and his kind of journey, his hard life, and kind of what drove him to dive headfirst into his profession, and kind of it's all encompassing.
I haven't seen that since we first saw it
Yeah,
a while ago. But
Yeah.
That's a good movie.
great movie. Miyazaki, he puts food in all of his movies in
Yeah.
a way that is just really profound and wonderful. Spirited Away, of course, is a big one. And the parents being gluttonous and
Yeah,
eating the
and
food so much that they turn
turning
into
into pigs,
pigs.
yeah.
And then the onigiri, the rice balls, that she's eating when she's feeling sad. It's the comfort food. It's the wonderful. And Totoro, My Neighbor Totoro, the little girl getting the corn and wanting to bring the corn to her mom who's sick in the hospital.
Yeah.
Just wonderful use of food as nourishment and as examples of gluttony, or just different ways that food can help or hurt us.
Yeah.
I think Miyazaki's a master at that.
Tempt and soothe.
Yeah.
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 Really good stuff. Well, that's our top 5s.
Yeah.
How'd you feel you did?
Well, I hope I did okay.
I mean, it's your list.
I hope you'll invite me back.
Did you? Oh yeah, definitely. Did you have fun?
I did.
That's good because I have a secret trivia question for you.
Oh God.
And I wanted to ask you that before I asked you this.
Okay. Did I have fun? Oh
Yeah.
God. Oh no.
We're gonna finish
What's
off
gonna
with a
happen
bang,
now?
Rebecca. So you had a secret top 5. I got a secret trivia question and answer session for you. So this episode was all about food.
Yes.
These questions are all about drinks
Oh.
in movies.
Okay.
I have 5. Feel pretty confident about 4. I'd be shocked if you got the 5th,
Okay.
but we're going to go for it anyway.
Okay.
So, question number 1.
Okay.
What is the grape that Paul Giamatti's character refuses to drink in
Merlot.
Sideways? All right.
You
Okay.
don't
That was
drink
one of the
any
easy
fucking
ones.
Merlot.
Pretty good. Merlot took a hit business-wise.
Yeah,
All the Merlot
actually.
makers in the world were just like, what the fuck, guy? Anyway. This one, I mean, I'm not sure. I think this will be an easy one, too. What is the dude's preferred cocktail in The Big Lebowski?
White Russian.
Yeah.
He's paying for his milk with a check.
Yeah. Okay. This is the hard one. I'll ask this one last. So I'll skip it. In The Lord of the Rings, there is a scene where Merry and Pip are dancing on a table, drinking in merriment, while singing a song about a pub from the Shire. Name that pub. I will give you the lyrics if you need a hint.
Yeah, give me the lyrics.
You can drink your fancy ales. You can drink them by the flagon. But the only brew for the brave of true comes
from the Green Dragon?
Nice. Yes. Nice. Question number 4. In A Few Good Men, Daniel Kaffee and his fellow lawyers, or tells his fellow lawyers that he only has this drink and Cocoa Puffs at his house. So if they want anything else, they have to bring it themselves.
Ooh, I love this movie, and I have no idea.
There's
Is it a
hint
beer?
He's drinking the drink earlier in the movie after a softball practice.
Oh, he's drinking like a Yoo-hoo or something.
That is exactly right. I only have Yoo-hoo and Cocoa Puffs. So if you want anything else, bring it yourself. Nailed it.
Awesome.
Okay.
But he drinks beer later, right?
Yeah.
He's like sipping on a beer with his baseball bat, trying to think.
Maybe. He also orders a beer at the bar when he goes to
Kevin
talk
Bacon.
to Kevin Bacon. And he does
yeah.
that thing where he's like, I'll have a beer. It's like, okay, we have like 17 beers.
Yeah.
What do you want?
What does that mean, a beer?
I'll have a beer. Okay, this is the one. I mean, I think I would have known this if I didn't specifically look it up, although I remember the scene. In Groundhog's Day.
Okay.
Groundhog Day. Not Groundhog's Day. In Groundhog Day, Bill Murray's character is trying to seduce Andie MacDowell over the course of a bunch of times by slowly remembering certain things about her.
Yes.
And she orders a drink, and the next day he orders the same drink.
Yes.
And they eventually toast to world peace.
Yes.
What is the drink that Andie MacDowell's character orders?
I feel like it's like vermouth with a twist or something.
Oh my God, you got it. Sweet vermouth with a twist. Yeah! Wow, I'm very impressed.
Thank you.
Wow. I don't even know when the last time we watched that movie together. It's been years. I'm very impressed that you got that.
Thank you.
Wow, good work. All right, we're signing off with a bang. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
And I hope we do it again sometime.
Yeah.
I hope we do it with Jack.
Yes.
As well. We'll have to get a third microphone, but I hope we do it with Jack. I had a blast.
Same.
Anything else on food that you want to hit, or movies that you want to hit on the way out?
I love food. I love movies. Go to the movies.
Eat some food.
Go eat some food.
Thanks so much for joining us on the High Fives podcast. Jack hinted at next week that we might have a big one coming, and then he couldn't make this weekend because he's out of town. So I'm not sure it will be the next one, but we do have a big one coming soon. We encourage you to do your own lists. Tell us how we're wrong. Tell us the things we missed. We don't particularly much care because these are our lists, but we hope you had a good time listening to the High Fives podcast. We'll see you in the next one.